ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Friday, January 9th. Your Friday is here. So are we. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Text line is now open. It's brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. We're going to keep it open text throughout the show, entire show for you. Of course, I'll have some things as well, but I definitely want to hear from you, especially since it is a Friday. We've got basketball action coming up tomorrow. The ladies are at the Cam Henderson Center, hoping for a continuation of an so far impressive run in Sun Belt play. And, of course, the men take on Georgia State. That is coming up tomorrow. We have got a 3 o'clock airtime. You can listen to that game on 93.7 The Dog. We've got NFL football action coming up tomorrow as well. We'll have the entirety of the playoffs, including the Super Bowl, right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So we'll get into all of this. Basketball, the men taking on Georgia State, the rematch. The women looking for 10 straight, taking on Coastal Carolina. That game tomorrow should be a good crowd for that. That's going to be Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock at the Cam Henderson Center. And, of course, you know, if you're going to the game, then as you're leaving the Henderson Center, don't forget, lock us in on the radio. But if you're making sure you want to maybe follow everything, we've got the football games for you tomorrow, as well as the NFL begins its playoffs. And, you know, we're going to get into a lot of things, obviously, with the pregame show tomorrow, since Marshall is looking to improve to 4-1 in league play. That would make Marshall 12-5. Marshall's right now among the leaders in the standings. The net went up. Last time I looked, Marshall was second in the net. So some good things are happening. It's trending upward for Marshall basketball right now. But the one thing that I'm going to be keeping my eye on, and I don't live and die on X, but I'm there and I'm following. And if you're on X, you can follow me as well. I really appreciate that if you would. It's at Paul Swann. I asked the question today because we saw a couple more Marshall players enter the portal that kind of stung, to be honest. Kicker Lorcan Quinn has put himself in the portal. And Nathan Totten, Marshall's punter, putting himself in the portal as well. Totten already committed to Virginia Tech. I mean, it was like that. Who knew he was in the portal? It was sort of a stealth entry into the portal. He's in the portal. Next thing you know, he's at Virginia Tech. So looking for a new kicker, looking for a new punter. Of course, I know a couple of schools that could use a kicker. I joked yesterday about it because Miami and Ole Miss, there were moments where you're thinking, hey, didn't you guys save some of that NIL money for a kicker? Somebody can get it done. Miami gets the victory over Ole Miss 31-27 at the Fiesta Bowl. So going to the national championship game, Miami's going to be playing on its home field. That's going to be the first time in the playoff era, I believe, or this edition of the playoff era, that has seen that. And waiting now, Indiana or Oregon, and that's coming up tonight at 7 o'clock. We will have that game. It's the Peach Bowl, but my second favorite bowl, Pop-Tarts Bowl, is taken number one. Chick-fil-A Bowl, you got to do something here. The Chick-fil-A Bowl used to be my number one favorite bowl. Now my number two, but it's the Peach Bowl. It's one of the greats. And you've got a good matchup between Indiana and Oregon. That's coming up again tonight. We're going to have that game for you. And the national championship the following Monday. That is all right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So I think that I'm a little torn in this because I've seen Oregon get so close before, and I do like Oregon, and Indiana's deserving. It's put itself in a position that few thought Indiana would ever see to take on Miami. Miami's been there before. It's been a long time since Miami's been there, but Miami used to be that program that every 2 or 3 years would be the national champion. If you went to Miami in a certain stretch, you didn't leave without at least one championship ring. So Miami's trying to put that back together. Indiana's just trying to get there. Oregon's been close. So I think the latter half of the playoffs have really come together. I know those early games, and that includes, of course, Tulane and JMU. A lot of people question why some of those teams were there. Then we saw some blowouts after that. But I'm hoping Indiana and Oregon is just like Miami and Ole Miss. It goes down to the wire, and we get an exciting game. And of course, national championship should be probably the highest-rated college football game of the season if all goes well. I think there is an interest maybe for Indiana or Oregon. So I'll throw that out there as well. But with the portal being open for a little bit longer now, and you're seeing players enter, I asked the question earlier, so now I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond. Which Marshall player entering the transfer portal hurts the most? When you saw the news, you saw it on social, or maybe you read a story, you heard us talking about it, which player entering the transfer portal hurts the most? And then, if you're following along, which new pickup excites you the most? So that's the question tonight, and you can answer on X at Paul Swann, or you can text in 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Which player leaving hurts the most? Which player coming in excites you? And while you're at it, who you got tonight? Indiana, Oregon? I already know some of the answers. Our very own Bill Cornwell, our news director, the Hall of Famer Bill Cornwell, by the way. He's taking Indiana. He was walking around this morning. He even showed me he had his red shirt on for support. It wasn't Indiana branded. He hasn't gotten that far yet, but he does have his Indiana colors on today. I am wearing black today, if anyone was asking. You weren't, but I'm wearing black. Billy's wearing his red. He seems to like that color a lot lately. The red has really come out of his wardrobe. So he's got his Indiana colors on tonight, supporting his Hoosiers. I don't know. I almost want to take Oregon just to see which team he's going to choose next after Indiana gets beat. But that's coming up again tonight, 7 o'clock, and we'll have it for you right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Bill knows I tease only because we care. But are you taking Indiana? Are you taking Oregon tonight? Who do you like in that matchup? And, of course, the winner will get Miami, and we'll have that for you here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. All right. We got a lot to get into. We're going to do that with you when we continue. We will take your text, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So where are you at on our question of the night? Which Marshall football player entering the transfer portal hurts the most? And which new pickup excites you the most? Text line open is now 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You're listening to The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Metro Community Federal Credit Union now brings you all the tech that big banks have, but still has that personal touch of a member-owned community credit union. Apple Pay? Got it. Digital wallet? Yep. Message pay by text, online loan payments, even chatting with a real person, not a bot. Open accounts, sign documents, and manage your money all online. It's the big bank tech you need from the local community-minded credit union you trust. Metro Community FCU. Visit metrocommunityfcu.com today.
Looking for midweek fun? Head to Frank's Place, where every night's a party. Wednesdays are full of brains and brews with trivia night. Grab your crew and show off what you know. Thursdays, crank it up with Singo Bingo. Music meets bingo for prizes and laughs. Then Fridays, we hand you the mic for karaoke night. Sing your heart out and start your weekend right. The fun never stops at Frank's Place. Great drinks, great friends, and good times. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Cold weather's on its way, and what do you want on those cold, chilly evenings? A warm blanket and a hot cup of cocoa. Well, you know who else wants the same comfort? Mice. Messy, uninvited guests. They sneak in and leave droppings, chew through your food and packages. Don't let mice take over your home this fall and winter. Call K&B Pest Control. We will kill for your business. Call today, 304-523-4281.
Our Kenner Communications family of stations remind you the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This Bloodmobile reminder is brought to you by Food Fair, delightfully local, delightfully fresh. Shop online at foodmarkets.com. Mountain West Community and Technical College, you matter here. Learn more at mctc.edu. Community Trust Bank, located beside Pullman Square, 3rd Avenue in Huntington. Call 304-697-0272 or visit ctbi.com for all your banking needs.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, all dinners served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
It's game time, and Food Fair has everything you need to feed your home team. From hand-battered chicken tenders and sauced wings to meatballs, party sliders, and fresh veggie trays. Food Fair makes hosting easy. Just order the perfect catering tray and pick it up at the deli counter. Some locations even have grab-and-go trays, and you're ready to serve. No cooking, no stress, just great food. Food Fair. Game time made easy. Get more at foodfairmarkets.com.
Let the Car Ferry bring a little magic to your driveway at Mark Porter Auto Group. With locations in Pomeroy and Jackson, Ohio, and Ashland, Kentucky, they make it easy to get into a safe, reliable vehicle. Every used car goes through a 117-point inspection, fall into a safe, reliable vehicle, and let the Car Ferry guide you to Mark Porter Auto Group in Pomeroy, Jackson, and Ashland. Or shop 24/7 at markporterautogroup.com.
I'm with Chris from Christopher's Eats. Chris, the new brunch menu is perfect. I had the steak and eggs last weekend, and my wife loves the brunch bowls.
Hey, thanks a lot for that feedback. It's been great so far. But listen, you got to try the breakfast nachos and the Monte Cristo next time.
Sounds good to me. Plus the mimosas, the Bloody Marys, they hit the spot, but it's only available on Sundays, right?
That's right. It's Sundays 10:30 a.m. to 3.
Try brunch for yourself with Christopher's Eats. Order it online, christopherseats.com, or stop in Route 60 Huntington.
Well, I finally improved my credit score.
What? The band is about to be discovered. Rock gods don't need to worry about credit scores. We're supposed to think about how many guitars we've smashed, make ridiculous on-tour requests, tragically break up and blame creative differences.
Yeah, I'm not banking my retirement on a band that's never left your garage.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
People think saving money is hard, but really, it's easy. It's as simple as changing a few spending habits. For free tips on how to save the easy way, check out feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with this Friday edition of Your Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. My name is Paul Swann. Thanks for being a part of today's show. Our text line is open, and it's brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You can also find me on X at Paul Swann. Question of the night, which Marshall football player entering the transfer portal hurts the most? Which new pickup excites you the most? You can text in now, or you can drop me a comment on X. I'm going to say, I don't know if special teams hurts me the most. I think Paul Hudson III probably hurts me the most. I would have liked to have seen him continue with Marshall. I really liked him. We didn't talk enough about him. And so he's probably one that really hurts most. As far as exciting me, that's going to be a challenge right now because there are so many kids coming in and there's potential. That's the big thing. There's a lot of potential here for a lot of these kids coming in. And you have maybe Xavier Ballsy. He's coming in and he's going to probably shore up that line. You have, depending on what the quarterback situation looks like, you got Owen Sweeney. He's a wide receiver coming in, a recent announcement. Cole Funderburk is coming in, defensive lineman. He's definitely someone to talk about. So many names that have come up as of late that are coming in. And, of course, we get them as when Marshall makes it official is when it's really official for me. It's not official till it's official, even though these kids do put that stuff out on their social media accounts. But those are just some of the names that recently were announced. But I'm going to say possibly with Hudson leaving, that hurts. But that special teams play for Marshall was really something to watch. That's the one that I think will sting a lot more for a lot of people because of the fact that you're losing a guy that got his chance to be a kicker at Marshall University at Lorcan Quinn. I mean, with Lorcan gone, he's going to go somewhere else and continue his journey, but he got that journey started at Marshall University. And of course, I thought Taunton was doing a fantastic job as well. And so those probably will sting maybe more Herd fans than the loss of a few other players. Or is it hard to really, and I'll throw this out as well, is it hard really to sit there and go, we're letting you a chance to know that kid. He was here for a season, played, we really liked him, and was hoping that we'd see more of him, and he's gone. And so that's where we're at right now with this transfer portal. It's one and done just for teams alone. You don't really get a chance to grow with these players or to learn more about them. It's because the transfer portal has opened up, and kids are going to try to find that next best thing. And I was watching the national championship game last night and watching a little bit of Kirk Herbstreit. I had the radio on, but I did listen to some of the TV side. And Herbstreit was talking about, hey, you know how you get into the national championship picture as a team, as a program? You build a team. And I think he's gone on record before. He doesn't like the transfer portal as much, and he was truly chastising some of these ridiculous demands these kids are making. You're chasing 5 stars, and you're chasing these kids that ask for so much, where programs like Miami, programs like Indiana, they're building a program, and that's very difficult to do today because the expectation is, where's my money? Where's my NIL? What can you do for me? Used to be the scholarship, and I'm not against those young men being able to profit, but this was not the intention. It was not a quick fix. Here's my cash. It was, here, you have the opportunity now to profit from your notoriety. And that means you could go out and you could go and make money. You could be a football player at Marshall University, and you could go out and make money because, well, you're famous. You're Marshall famous, or you're college football famous. You're famous, and you can go out and you can profit now. I can go out and possibly profit based off of my name. I don't see why a kid that's at Marshall University or any school can't go out and profit on his or her name. But this has turned into a poor man's version of the National Football League. That's why I like the NFL better. I mean, we know the rules. We know there's order to this chaos. You can spend the money. You're still going to have to build a good roster, and you're going to have to work with what you have. Baseball, similar situation. Yeah, you can spend the money, and there are going to be programs and schools that try to emulate that success of spending the money to try to get to that championship. I mean, it didn't make anyone at Michigan sad to spend the money, right? What'd they get? National championship a few years ago. So it's very difficult probably to say, hey, this kid leaving really stings, or I'm excited for this kid. You're probably excited for, hey, this kid's coming in and has some notoriety and could really do something to help our program. But at this point, who's to say that you've bonded with any of these kids enough to go, hey, we're going to miss you. Like, okay, well, thanks for playing. I've seen the anger as well. And is that you? Are you among those that are angry? I've seen on social, and again, this is not the place I'm gauging, but I've seen players called traitors. I've seen players called out for how quickly they've been in the portal and all of a sudden picked up by another school, calling out other programs as well. I mean, it's not as much hate as I saw for Coach Huff the previous year, but it's out there right now as far as fans are concerned. You're a traitor. And, of course, you bring in all these new kids. They're wonderful. But the kids leaving, you're a traitor. I mean, Coach Gibson kind of alluded to that in a sense. He's like, hey, look, yeah, you want to be here? We want you here. You don't want to be here? We'll see you. And he made that perfectly clear. Now, some of these kids leaving, they're kind of prompted to, hey, we're not going to have a place for you. It didn't work out. Yeah, good luck in the portal. You got some of those situations. But for others, it's, I made some progress here, and now there are bigger programs that are interested in me, and so I'm going to go chase that. I'm going to go make my name elsewhere. And it's always interesting to see where these kids land. Of course, let's be fair. We're looking at Indiana here. That took a lot of kids from James Madison, and look where they're at now. I'm not saying that's the only reason, but you saw a lot of kids. Kids sometimes follow the coach. Sometimes they follow their dream, want to be at a bigger school. Sometimes they follow the money. So is it possible for any of these kids entering the transfer portal today for you to go, oh, that really hurts? Or is it just, okay, I expected that. I saw that coming. Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Text line, Paul, Lorcan Quinn hurts the most. We gave that kid his first opportunity. All right, appreciate that text. So that one hurts because here was a kid that you enjoyed his story. You got to know him a little bit because his story was a little different. Marshall giving this kid the opportunity to kick, to do something that he has never done before. And so now he takes that opportunity to become a really good kicker, and he takes that elsewhere. And so I can see where that one would hurt a little bit more for Herd fans. Do you have a similar player? You have the same player? What do you think? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That is our text line to be a part of today's show on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I was reading some of the comments as well, just of the thanks for being, a fan. I'm going elsewhere now. Lorcan's read like this, and they all seem similar, as if ChatGPT is writing these things these days. To Herd Nation, this is from Lorcan Quinn. Thank you to Marshall University, the entire coaching staff, training staff, my teammates, and the Herd fans for an unforgettable experience. I would especially like to thank my fellow specialists, Coach Holt and Coach White, for the opportunity to be part of such an unbelievable unit. The bond built within this group is something I truly value, and I have the utmost respect for each of these lads. After careful consideration of my personal goals and circumstances alongside my family, I have decided to enter the transfer portal. I appreciate everyone at Marshall for supporting me and respecting my decision. I'm excited for what lies ahead and grateful for everything that brought me to this point. Thank you, and go Herd. That is Lorcan Quinn's statement. And since we're talking about the specialist, it was real quick that we found out that Totten, committing to Virginia Tech, going to be a part of the Hokies. His statement reads, first, I want to thank the fans for all the love and support you have shown me during my time here. It truly meant more to me than you know. Thank you to the coaching staff, support staff, and my teammates for believing in me and allowing me to be part of something special. I would especially like to thank Coach White and Coach Holt for believing in me and for the incredible experience and time we shared together. I am grateful for the brotherhood, the growth, and the memories that will stay with me forever. Above all, I thank God. Through the highs and the lows, he carried me, strengthened me, and guided me every step of the way. After prayer, reflection, and trusting God's plan, I decided to enter the transfer portal on January 2nd. The decision was not easy, but I trust that God is leading me toward what's next. I'm excited for the future and ready to attack the next chapter with faith and purpose, and that is Nathan Totten's statement. So, again, all these statements start to blend together, same structure. It's like there's a template. Okay, thank the fans, thank the coaches, bond, experience, personal reflection, family, opportunity, situation, got to leave. 304-396 is our text line, 304-396-8255. That's the text line. Be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Mike Rowe here with a fun fact. Did you know that 50% of the air that you breathe inside your home comes from your crawl space? Yeah. Whether your crawl space is wet, musty, or your floors are bouncy, do yourself a favor, call Groundworks. I spent some time working with these guys, and they're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to repair your crawl space. Baker's Waterproofing and Basement Authority of West Virginia are now Groundworks. Schedule a free inspection.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Earn more with 4 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Polka Valley Bank. Polka Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 4%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by one of the 8 Polka Valley Bank locations today. Polka Valley Bank, where relationships matter.
Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Polka Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
Looking for midweek fun? Head to Frank's Place, where every night's a party. Wednesdays are full of brains and brews with trivia night. Grab your crew and show off what you know. Thursdays, crank it up with Singo Bingo. Music meets bingo for prizes and laughs. Then Fridays, we hand you the mic for karaoke night. Sing your heart out and start your weekend right. The fun never stops at Frank's Place. Great drinks, great friends, and good times. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Roosters presents Bowl Mania. Kendrick Communications and Roosters have joined forces to bring you nearly 40 bowl games, from the opening kickoffs to the massive New Year's showdowns and the College Football Playoff National Championship. We're bringing you every heart-pounding moment. Listen to the full slate of action on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 and Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. It's time to go bowling. Bowl Mania is an exclusive presentation of Kendrick Communications Sports, presented by Roosters, a fun casual joint.
The new year at Hometown Chevrolet can only mean one thing. It's time to upgrade your ride. Right now, we're offering top dollar for your trade, even if you don't buy from us. That's cash in your pocket, no strings attached, just for bringing in your car. Drive into the new year with something you'll love, turning heads wherever you go, and starting the new year confident, excited, and ready for the road ahead. It's simple and it's fast, and it's waiting for you at yourhometownchevy.com, or stop by and see us in Waverly. Your Hometown Chevy, where the new year starts with you in the driver's seat.
Hey, it's Big John with Parlor from Sue's Junk. Let's say you've heard the ads on the air, but you don't know anything about Sue's Junk Parlor. Tell them all about it.
Well, we have over 400 vendors here. We're open 7 days a week. Tons of booths. You could spend all day in here shopping all these amazing booths. We always say we have something for everybody, but when you come in here, it's true. And we always see when people walk in the door, they just stand there in awe. We say, first time? Yes. Oh my gosh, I didn't know this place was like this. It'll be your new favorite hot spot in town.
Visit Sue's Junk, 459 Camden Road, Huntington.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Our text line is open. It's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Let's go to the text line. I'm not going to read the text, but Matthew from the Flood Wall, that sounds sus. I'll leave it at that. Texter says, Paul, I have similar coaches. Billy Donovan, Dana Altman, Charles Huff. Like it or not? Yeah, I'm with you. All right, back to the text line. Texter says, unfortunately, this is college sports nowadays. Micah Han-Logden is a big example. He got paid and a championship. He would have never got that here. And that's very fair. I appreciate that text. Here's the dilemma. And I'll say this not to kind of denigrate Marshall University, but a lot of student athletes, a lot of kids come to Marshall University because Marshall is a good place to show that you maybe got overlooked, you can compete. And Marshall's a program where it has enough name, enough notoriety, but if you're pretty good here at Marshall University, you're probably going to get a look elsewhere. And so if you have a good season at Marshall University, you didn't maybe get that first look somewhere, and then you come to Marshall University, you have a pretty good year, all of a sudden you might get attention elsewhere. And so that's why some kids come to Marshall University. It's a good landing spot. It's a good starter school for some of these kids. Maybe they're trying to move up. They had some success elsewhere, and now they're moving up, and they need to go to maybe a place like Marshall where the competition's better, but the ultimate goal is to go somewhere else. And so Marshall's sort of like the stepping stone. Like the coaches have used Marshall as a stepping stone to get to the ultimate place. Now, there are some kids that come to Marshall University, and it means the world to play for Marshall because you grew up as a fan of Marshall. You grew up in-state and it means something for you to play for an in-state school. And more than likely, some of those kids are never going to leave. And they're going to stay at Marshall University because it's truly a special place. A lot of kids will come, and let's just be honest, you're going to get a full ride out of them, and they're going to be very rare. Obina Anachili-Killen on basketball. He was like, look, this place is great. You can't show me any place other than Marshall where I want to be. I want to be here. This place is great. I got everything I want. He wanted to be at Marshall. He loved it here. Got probably the education he wanted, or he enjoyed the programs or the coaches, a little bit of everything. And so, to be fair, a kid like that means the world to me, but we're not going to see too much of him around here. Not him directly, but what I'm saying is a player like him, to clarify. We're not going to see too many kids like that again. And to be fair, the way the system's set up right now, you're not going to see. You're going to see coaches that are going to have to hit that transfer portal every year. And it's going to be harder for kids coming out of high school to find spots, because before you could find a kid, you could recruit a kid out of high school, bring him on board, and you're like, wow, this kid's going to be something. You know, a couple years, he's going to start really showing his potential. We're going to have him. We're going to develop him. We're going to work with him. He's going to grow into our system. He's going to be Wyatt Fricks, for example. Wyatt Fricks, who mentioned recently at one of the media availabilities that, hey, I waited my turn. Now I'm here. Now this is my time. But I waited my turn behind the guy we just talked about, Obina Anachili-Killen. And so he wanted to stay. He wanted to get better and then now go out and be a part of Marshall basketball in a more prominent role. And we might not see the likes of him for a long time. Just the way that this entire transfer portal has broken up what made college athletics a little bit more special. I love pro, but for college athletics, I mean, you stay with a kid for several years. He comes out of high school, and you have moments. And it's for any school. It's not just Marshall. Marshall's just going to be a little bit more susceptible to it because, I mean, look, Ohio State's got players in the transfer portal. Maybe didn't get enough playing time, didn't like the situation, felt like they didn't use enough, or they've shown themselves, okay, you know, I'm not going to get a fair shake here, so I'm going to go somewhere else and get an opportunity to play. It's not necessarily about the national championship because Ohio State's going to be contender year in and year out for a national championship. So why wouldn't kids want to stay there? Hey, I want to be a national champion. No, it's more individualistic these days for why kids are leaving. And with the 12-team playoff, there's more opportunity now, so there's going to be more movement in the transfer portal. Or, you know, you see a school that's putting together a really good transfer portal class, and you want to be part of that, and you're just playing the odds. Or again, it comes down to the money. The education, though, I mean, let's start being honest here. They're student athletes, and they have to still fulfill that obligation. But how much of an education are they really getting? Like, you start here, you start at Marshall University, and then you go to, let's just say, Virginia Tech, and then you go somewhere else, and then you go somewhere else. And how will your transfer credits look? Some of those classes will transfer, some of those won't, right? It's going to be a mess. And then you got to figure out, okay, well, how do I complete my education here? Because once they're done with you, they're done. Oh, hey, I've fallen short of my credit. Yeah, well, got any eligibility left? No? Okay, well, we'll see you around campus if you're staying. I mean, that's kind of harsh, but still. That's a big, for me right now, is the fact that a lot of these kids are going after the short-term fixes and not realizing that there's going to be harm down the line. The allure at the time of the scholarship was, you're getting your education paid for, and in return, you get to be on the football team, you get to be on the basketball team, you get to play, and you playing sports, you're playing for us, we're going to give you a free education. So you get a full ride, and it's not true a full ride. Not every student athlete gets that benefit, but if you're in football, you're in basketball, for the most part, you get a full ride, you're going to have the opportunity to walk away with a degree. Not everyone that goes to play college football will make it at the next level. It's going to be very rare. Not everyone is going to make it as an NFL football player. There are going to be guys that you will never hear from again after their football career is over at Marshall University or wherever because they didn't get on at the next level, did not get an NFL team to pick them up. Maybe you're good enough you can go play a little Canadian ball. It's not a bad place. After that, your options kind of drop a little bit. And college football is a different system because of the way that the NFL brings in new talent. How does NFL bring in new talent? Well, it uses college football as its talent pool. And to a huge degree, the NBA. But the NBA has gone a little bit more global. So there's talent coming in from other places as well, not just college basketball. Baseball, there's an entire farm system. You're going through several layers. There's no quick hit. You love playing baseball. Now you're trying to get yourself into a situation where you can showcase yourself, and I think you're going to see that more and more now with baseball. I mean, same thing with other sports. Women's basketball, I mean, you're probably going to see a little bit more of that because there are some options now for women. And the WNBA being the biggest option, but there are other options. Hockey is similar to baseball when it comes to, hey, you got a lot of kids that are now actually going through the college system. At the same time, you got a lot of kids that are not even bothering with the college system. They're going to minors or they're going to juniors. They're doing different things. So it's completely an interesting dynamic to see how college football is kind of broken the model, and these kids are only concerned with, for the most part, what benefits them. And I can't honestly say too much negative about it because you're going to have to take care of yourself and you're going to have to do what's best for you. So where does taking care of myself and loyalty, where does that meet? Texture says, Paul, as far as those farewell speeches are concerned, I wish that they would tell the truth and say that they actually got more money in another place. And it's like a girl dating a guy saying, I love you, but I still want to be friends. But I'm going to go take this other guy who has a lot more money than you do. I wish they'd just be truthful. I appreciate the text. All right, that was good. You got to laugh and smile at me. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love you, but this guy's got a Ferrari and you've got this ride. This guy's got money. He's not as handsome as you, but he's got a wallet, and it's nice, and that car's nice. But I love you. I love you. But I'm going to go hang out with this guy now because, well, we're going to Barbados. See you later. That's what he's saying. That's what Texture's saying. Also from the text line, Texture says, Paul, the grass that looks greener is not always so. Many players that left found disappointment. Grant Wells thought he'd do better at Virginia Tech. Chase Litton was going to land an NFL spot. How did that work out? Andy Taylor left and was never heard from again. The team that followed Charles Huff did not reach the championship game. These kids need to realize when they've got something good going, if they are good enough, pro teams will find them. Absolutely. Appreciate that text. That is a big, big thumbs up for me. Because if you're good enough, they will find you. Now, what are you chasing? Are you chasing an opportunity to go to the next level? Are you chasing money? I think a lot of these kids are chasing the next level, and they think that if by hopping place to place, or for a lot of these kids, maybe they know after this, the gig is up. I'm not going to make this kind of money. And I don't see anything out there that is, for the most part, for most kids, there's going to be some substantial quality of life improvement with some of the money that's made. But how much of that money are you going to hang on to and kind of make work for you? That's going to be great short-term money. And, if I had an influx of cash the way some of these kids have, my first reaction at my age would be, all right, I'm putting that in a mutual fund. Maybe I'm putting that into my retirement fund. I'm going to maybe open up a savings account. I'm going to do something that makes that money work for me. Maybe not all of it, but I'm going to do something with it at my age. Because I'm thinking about this. This kid, oh, look, we're going to give you this amount of money. Oh, great. And what's he doing with that money? And I don't want to say they're all being stupid with it, but I hope that they're not. 304-396-TALK is that text line, 304-396-8255. Texter wants to know, who's your pick? I'm going to go against Bill Cornwell. I'm taking Oregon only because I want to be against Bill Cornwell. We're talking about Oregon and Indiana. Who's my pick tonight? I'm taking the Ducks only because, well, it's a cousin. I'm a Swan. They're the Ducks. Cousin. I'm going to keep it in the family. I'm going to go Oregon Ducks. Quick timeout. We will come back, and we will get more of your text on this edition of The Drive. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Stuck in a state of falling behind, struggling to keep up with kids, finances, insurance, and life? Well, let your State Farm agent help you simplify and get to a better state. With State Farm handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. More money, too. Adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40%. Help you get ahead. Call an agent today and get to a better state with State Farm. In Huntington, Ray Crabtree, 304-736-8181. In Milton, Russ McRae, 304-743-9318. And in Lavalette, Jason Elkins, 304-529-7555.
Let the Car Ferry bring a little magic to your driveway at Mark Porter Auto Group. With locations in Pomeroy, Jackson, Ohio, and Ashland, Kentucky. Want to shop 24 hours a day? Cozy up with a cup of cider and browse our full inventory anytime at markporterautogroup.com. Fall into a safe, reliable vehicle and let the Car Ferry guide you to Mark Porter Auto Group in Pomeroy, Jackson, and Ashland. Or shop 24/7 at markporterautogroup.com.
No down payment? No problem. Here at KFB, we make homeownership easy with our no down payment home loans. Whether you're buying your first home or ready for something new, KFB is here to guide you every step of the way. Apply today and take the first step towards your dream home with no money down. Restrictions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. KFB, the better bank, located at Ashland, Catlettsburg, Louisa, Summit, and Wheelersburg. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Giovanni's Pizza. Fresh, hot, and tasty. Have it delivered right to your door. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Update your home for the new year with help from Menards. Organize your home with Closet Made. We carry everything you need to maximize your space in closets, pantries, laundry rooms, and more. Find the closet solution that's right for you and save big money. Check out all our closet-made closet kits in-store. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Our Kendrick Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by Roosters at Pullman Square. Over 40 TVs, hot wings, cold beer, and great daily specials. Roosters, a fun, casual joint. Spring Valley Plaza on Jackson Pike, featuring the UPS store. The Herbal Tea Shop, AJ's Axe House, Classic Barber, Loco Taco, and more. And Classic Jewelry and Loan in Barbersville, your gold and silver headquarters with guns, jewelry, and more. Voted best in the Tri-State.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. MDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
It's our final segment for today's edition of Your Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line is still open. We got that going right now. 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. Let's go back to the text line. Texter says, hey, Paul. It's hard to pick that one that hurts the most, but a few that's so disappointing. We need Van Komen back to make that run for the conference championship. What says you? The team is starting to gel. Great job. Rock on. That's from Holmes. Appreciate that. Did I tell you all, Holmes won some tickets recently, and he brought me a thank you card. I wasn't here. He brought me a thank you card and some goldfish. I wasn't expecting any of that. And let me tell you right now, that goldfish bag came in handy. So I appreciate Holmes. Thank you for doing that. That was really nice of you. Now to your question, I think Marshall is starting to gel. It's shown that it can play without Van Komen for one. I'd like to have his size and presence back, but I always felt that Marshall lost that game against Troy only because, well, that's your first encounter with a lot of these kids into conference play. Troy's a pretty good team. That was at home for Troy. I'm not excited that Marshall lost that game. I'm not disappointed. I thought the lesson was learned. Marshall had that lull for a few games, but I really feel that this team has started to pick things up. Now, there's some things that concern me. Marshall has to be consistent. You can't have scoring droughts the way you did, especially on the road. You have to find a way to go in. And against Georgia State, we saw Georgia State here not that long ago at the Cam Henderson Center make a game of it. I don't think that too much has changed for Georgia State or Marshall. That's a team you're going to have to keep an eye out for because it's pretty good. Despite its record, it's pretty good as far as teams in the league. Now, will Georgia State win the conference? I'm not going to go that far. But will Georgia State cause a lot of headaches? Yes, Georgia State will cause a lot of headaches. Just look at what happened in the Sun Belt. App State barely got the win over Georgia State, 52-50. Georgia State actually led 25-23 going into the half, and then App State outscored them 29-25 in that second half. So Georgia State, the best 5-12 team in the Sun Belt, 2-3 in league play. App State's just 3-2 now in league play, so you don't want Marshall to drop to 3-2. Other games from league action yesterday, Old Dominion got the better of Coastal Carolina, 70-66. Southern Miss beat Texas State. That went to overtime, 80-70. And then Louisiana got the win over UL Monroe, 85-79. Monroe is now 0-5 in league play. Louisiana is 2-3. So that's what happened yesterday. And, of course, Saturday, we've got the Herd taking on Georgia State. Full slate, it looks like. Troy's taking on Louisiana tomorrow. Also, that's going to be at 1 o'clock, so a little earlier in the day. App State's got Coastal Carolina. Georgia Southern and South Alabama. UL Monroe will take on Southern Miss. Southern Miss is 4-1. Texas State and Arkansas State. Arkansas State's 3-1, and then James Madison, Marshall just faced them. Will face off against Old Dominion. That's coming up Saturday at 4 o'clock. Just looking at the standings for where everything shakes out so far. And again, we're just a few games in, but it's getting closer to the fact where I think we're starting to see some trends here where everything stacks up. So Georgia Southern, we talked about them, undefeated in league play, 4-0 on a 9-game win streak. Southern Miss is on a 3-game win streak and 4-1 in league play, just a half game back. And then Arkansas State, Troy, Marshall, all 1 game back, 3-1 mark. Marshall is probably the second hottest team in the league right now. Georgia Southern wins are just stacking up for them. 4 straight in league, 9 straight overall. Marshall's on a 4-game win streak. And so those are the two teams. And then you got Southern Miss is starting to pick back up and heat back up. The only team that's really having a huge struggle right now is UL Monroe. And to be fair, James Madison will pick up some wins. Coastal, though, 1-4. But we're seeing a trend right now. I think the line right now is Georgia Southern, Southern Miss, Arkansas State, Troy, and Marshall. That's the line. Those are your top 5. And Marshall wants to kind of stay up there with the top teams. Georgia State's a team that kind of can throw a wrench in that. Georgia Southern, though, pretty hot right now. And you look at the net, though, Arkansas State and Marshall are probably, just going by the net numbers, probably the cream of the crop right now here in league play. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for being a part of today here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. If you missed anything from today and you want to go back and listen to it again, you can find the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or just wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find me on social media. The best place to start is on X at Paul Swann. Looking forward to hearing and seeing all of your comments and replies. And if you're not following me, if you give me a follow, I would really appreciate that. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.